Hello, unicorns. This is the second episode of Dear Miki. If you ever read Ann Landers or Dear Abby when you were younger, I'm really aging myself here. But if you ever read them when you were younger, you know that they were advice columnists. So some of you have sent in questions wanting to know my advice. What makes me qualified? Absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I don't have a degree. But I am almost 53 years old, and I definitely have opinions. So it may be misguided. It may be suspect advice. But if you want to know what advice I have, keep watching. Okay, so, like I said, we're giving advice again. Some of you have asked me questions. Why? I don't know. But we're going to do it anyway, just to catch you up on what I've already done. My eyebrows are done. My foundation and powder is done. Primer is on. I'm ready to go. And we're going to start with contour. My husband, you will hear him off in the distance. He is going to be reading your questions while I answer them. One thing I'm doing a little different this time from the last time I did a Dear Miki, I gave you answers on the fly. And I know that maybe it's not as interesting if I think about my answers first, but I thought you guys deserved some well thought out and pondered answers. So I gave it some reflection and consideration, and I have notes. So without any further ado, I'm going to start with my contour, and my husband will start reading the questions.
Well, I have a question first.
Oh.
What makes you qualified to give advice?
Like I said in my intro, absolutely nothing. I have no psychology degree. I have no psychiatry degree. I am not a social worker. And the only thing that really makes me qualified to give advice is that I'm almost 53 years old. I've lived a lot. I've done a lot. And I have opinions. I have thoughts. And so if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you those thoughts. And some of you were foolish enough to ask.
Our first question. Lavish Lisa asks, how do I hide eye puffiness and discoloration?
Oh, okay, Lavish. This is a two-part question. So the first part I'm going to talk to you about is eye puffiness. Again, checking my notes. You want to find a product that reduces eye swelling. Now, there's many products on the market. I personally use Maylee's. They have a wonderful eye puffing, eye depuffer, and I use it under my eye bags morning and night. But I would encourage you to do some research. Do not be me. I will see ads on Facebook. I will see ads on Instagram and YouTube and just pretty much anywhere. And instead of doing my research and investigating, I will just spend money to find out what works and doesn't work, and I end up very disappointed many times. So what I would recommend is do your research. Some of the products you might know of, but there are also home remedies such as cucumber slices, dampened tea bags, and even Preparation H. I know, but models use it all the time. As for concealing dark circles, I actually addressed this once in my previous episode of Dear Miki, but we'll recap it briefly again. So, use a concealer of your liking, but before you use the concealer, you really want to study your face. You want to determine what color is your discoloration under the eyes. If it's more red or pink toned, use a green concealer. If it's more bluish or brownish, you want to use an orange concealer. Again, definitely check out my video, Dear Miki, the last time. It covers concealing. Purple, you'll use a yellow tone. If you're a yellow tone, you'll use a purple, etc., etc. But you want to do that first and then place your under eye concealer over the color correction. Next question.
Okay, Dear Miki, should I get butt implants? Signed, Flat in Fresno.
My first instinct is to say absolutely not. You may want to look like J-Lo, but you could end up looking like baby Huey. You may want a Kardashian champagne ass, but you could end up looking like two pork roasts in a bikini. Or if you prefer thongs, it could be two cantaloupes held together with a rubber band. Either way, I say embrace the bottom you have and don't do it.
There you have it, folks. Just say no to butt implants.
Just say no.
Ready for the next question?
I'm ready for the next question.
Dear Miki, when using magnetic lashes, do you have to wait for the liner to dry completely before applying the lash? I can never get this right. Signed, Flashy in Florida.
Dear Flashy, hi, welcome back. Glad to see you again. The short answer to your question is yes. You have to wait for them to dry down. But it's actually more complicated than that. I love the ease and simplicity of magnetic lashes, but quite frankly, I don't like them because it usually takes 2 to 3 coats of magnetic liner in order for the lashes to stick. And then even then you have to wait for each coat to dry down completely, including the final coat when you apply the lashes. So stick with the glue on, it's faster. Alright, so I went ahead and put some blush on. I used the NARS Orgasm.
Not a color.
But it is a joy. We'll leave it at that. I use the NARS Orgasm, which is supposed to look good on everybody, but that's the blush that I use. You watched me do my contour. So now we're going to move on to the eyeshadow look. And for that, I'm using 2 palettes. I'm going to be using my Epic Beauty with Anne Volume 10 palette because it has the browns that I need. And then I'm going to be using my Jolie Beauty Sirens palette because it has the green and the purples that I want. So, having said that, let's get started with the browns and the next question.
If you're getting an orgasm from makeup, that makes me feel like less.
Well, it is pretty orgasmic.
Oh my god. Next question. Sleepless in Scottsdale writes, Dear Miki, my husband snores like a freight train. I don't want to make him feel bad, but if I don't start getting some decent night's sleep, I'm going to go serial killer on him. How do we both get a good night's sleep without any hurt feelings? Hey, wait a minute. Did you write this question?
No.
Yes, you did.
I didn't, but I
You
could.
did.
I didn't, but I could have.
You're a liar.
I didn't write this question. But, sleepless, I feel you. The reason we just had this little exchange is because my husband also snores like a freight train. Alright, so let me give you the short answer. If you're not too uncomfortable, the easiest thing to do is wear earplugs. I do this frequently. In fact, my husband and I just recently took a cruise, and they were my best friend on the cruise because I couldn't escape him. But when you don't have an option, and the earplugs aren't working, the best thing that I can tell you to do is have a spare room, a couch, a place to escape. Here is the arrangement my husband and I have. Whoever goes to bed first gets the good night's sleep. If you wake me up snoring, you got to go into the guest room. If I wake you up snoring and you came to bed after me, you got to go into the guest room. If you went to bed before me and you wake me up, I got to go into the guest room. If I wake you up snoring and I went to bed after you, I got to go into the guest room. It isn't an ideal situation. In a perfect world, we could all sleep together. Let me rephrase that. In a perfect world, you could sleep with your spouse and not be disturbed. But it's not a perfect world. You got to find what works for you.
And why do we have said arrangement?
Because you snore.
Really? And you snore too.
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Whatever, Sleepless in Scottsdale. Hope you got your answer.
Next question, please.
Searching for my SO wants to know, what's the best place online to find makeup for my significant other that doesn't cost me hundreds of dollars per item?
Oh my god, that's a great question. Okay, look. I love me some high-cost, high-end makeup. I really do. But I started this channel with beauty on a budget. That was the whole primary goal. Now it's kind of morphed into, like, beauty for the over 50s. But let's get back to, like, the roots and where I started. So, I struggle with the same thing. I have notes on this. I love, love, love the luxury brands. But one of my favorite mid-range brands is ColourPop. Go to their website. It's ColourPop, all one word, colourpop.com. They are fairly reasonable and super high quality. But if you want to go with even more reasonable prices, you can find some really good quality prices, good quality products for a reasonable price at your local drugstore. Let me list off a few for you. And all of these ones that are at your local drugstore also have their own website. So if you don't want to go shopping, you can do it from the comfort of your home. So a few of the ones I have. Let's see. We've got Profusion, one of my favorites. I have an entire makeup drawer filled with Profusion makeup. It's not very pigmented, but it's extremely buildable. You'll get the pigmentation that you want. Some other really good ones are NYX, NYX, and e.l.f. If you're looking for super quality products at the most affordable prices, you want to check out some of those Korean beauty makeup. They are really, really good. A few of my favorites would be Beauty Creations and SheGlam. If you haven't checked out SheGlam, definitely do so. Yeah. Also, there are really, really nice indie brands that sell on Facebook. These women do YouTube lives and they're trying to start off small businesses. Some of the ones that I recommend would be Galaxy Cosmetics, Face It with Brittany, and Pretty Please Cosmetics. You can find them online or on Facebook. I'd highly recommend them. Next question.
Dear Miki, you gave the fellas dating advice in your last Dear Miki video and warned us women about the evils of Netflix and chill. What about us ladies looking for Mr. Right? How do we find our Prince Charming without coming across easy or like a hoe? Signed, Paralysis by Analysis.
Alright, I'm pausing everything for this one. Dear Paralysis, this is a heavy question, so I took ample notes. I'm going to stop doing my makeup right now for a minute, and I'm just going to read you what I wrote, because this one is deep. Here we go. First of all, I'm probably not the right person to ask, but you did, and because you did, you're going to get my answer whether you like it or not. So here we go. First of all, define hoe. Okay? By most standards and antiquated ways of thinking, I could very well be considered a hoe. Yeah, I could be. I've dated and been with a considerable number of men. Look, let's be frank. It's the millennium, and the old standards shouldn't apply anymore. If you're both consenting adults and responsible, whose business is it anyway? Haven't you ever heard the old adage, you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find your prince? Well, let me tell you, I have kissed my share of frogs. I've probably kissed your share of frogs. I've probably kissed half of Arizona's share of frogs. I had to go through all of those experiences to learn what and who was and wasn't right for me. If that's what I had to go through, though, to finally find Mr. Right, then it was all worth it. Because it's what brought me to the wonderful man I'm with now. The important thing to remember here is on your search for Mr. Right, if he would judge you harshly for your past experiences, then he is definitely Mr. Wrong. You should tell him to just move on. Mr. Right is not only going to love you for who you are, but he's going to accept you as you are. Flaws, failings, and your history. And that's about all I have to say on that. Moving into my Sirens palette, and I'm going into the bright shimmery green, the metallic green called Pearl. This one right here. Alright, what's the next question?
Dear Miki, what's a good primer for people who sweat a lot on their face? I am tired of looking like a Salvador Dali painting after a few hours. Signed, Surrealist in Savannah.
Dear Surrealist, the first thing you have to remember is there are rules to primer and foundation. So in other words, what I'm saying is if you have a silicone-based foundation, then you want to use a silicone-based primer. Oil-based foundation, oil-based primer. Water-based foundation, water-based primer. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Having said that, Once you find the right primer for your foundation, or once you find the right type of primer for your foundation, there are plenty of good ones on the market. Some of my favorites are e.l.f. Power Grip. That one's a really good one. I love Milk's HydroGrip. I love P. Louise's Pink Sculpting Primer. What is it actually called? Partner in Pink Sculpting Primer. And also, you never want to estimate the power of a good setting spray. Your primer is often only as good as your setting spray. So some of the ones that I love, or two of my favorites, are Patrick Starr's One Size Primer, really great, and Dermablend. They're awesome for high humidity and moisture areas, and will stay. I mean, I managed to go swimming in the ocean in Mexico with the Patrick Star One Size setting spray, and my makeup barely budged. So, there you go. Next question.
Scratchy in Santa Fe writes in, my man believes skincare is only a female thing. How can I convince him it's not girly and there is men's skincare too?
Well, there's plenty of men's skincare. I can certainly recommend some good products. So some of the ones that I really like are Clinique, Tiege Hanley, Elta MD, even Dove has some great men's products. But the important thing here is getting his buy-in, or he won't try any of them. You need to break down exactly what his rough skin is doing to your delicate skin. Make it worth his while. Tell him about all the benefits that he'll receive if his skin is a little bit more soft and supple. Trust me, you give him what he wants, he's going to give you what you want. He might, and then in the end, he might actually like the results of it and continue doing it on his own without any provocation whatsoever. Alright, so before the next question, I'm not going to do my whole face highlighter yet, but I'm going in with my Glamlite Scooby Doo highlighter. I'm going to use a green shade just to highlight my brow bones and maybe my inner corner, and then we'll do the under eye. What is the next question?
Alright. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, know this, Miki, before I read this question. It is Dear Miki and not Dear Ryan, but I will be grading your answer on this.
Uh-oh.
In your last advice video, you touched upon guys being desperate in dating, but I need more specifics. Texting in particular seems like walking through a minefield. How do I better manage my text game so I don't keep blowing it? Signed, Fumble Fingers. Alright, you're on, Mick.
Alright, dear Fumble. Or dear Fingers, however you prefer it. I know the temptation to show her what a sensitive, caring guy you are is great. That's what the date is for. I know you want her to see that you're fascinating. That's what the date is for. I know that you want her to see you as her knight in shining armor. That's what the bloody date is for. Okay, so as far as texting goes, what is it for? It's for setting up the date. You want to pique her interest about you and leave her wanting more. Don't blow your wad all in one series of texts. If she sends you a 3-word response, do not send her 3 paragraphs asking her what she's doing. Don't triple text. What do I mean by that? Don't send her 6 messages for every one of hers. Don't reply in 3 minutes if her replies are taking 3 hours. And after 3 or 4 text exchanges, it's time to ask for the date. Simply tell her you want to know more about her and would love to talk about it over coffee, drinks, or anything that allows for easy communication. Basically, the same advice I gave you last time. Don't be too eager.
Alright, dang. Well, I'll give that 4 red pills out of 4.
Okay.
You get an A+.
Alright, so we've done some highlighters, we've done the top. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the lower lash line. What is the next question?
Dear Miki, help! I have my high school reunion coming up and have gained a few pounds. What are some tricks to looking slimmer? Not just in my body, but in my face too. Signed, Freaking Out in Fairbanks.
Alright, going to the color Odyssey because it matches my shirt a little bit, but it's darker, and we're going to do that under the eye. Dear Freaking Out, first of all, take a breath. Now, I'm assuming since your reunion's coming up soon, it's probably a little late for liposuction. It's okay. I got you. Now, if you did not see my last Dear Miki episode, I did address this as far as dressing for flattering your figure and what you need to do to accentuate or change your figure. But let's just kind of go over some of the other things. If you didn't see it, I'll post a link in the description box below. But as for the face, like I said, you can see all the fashion stuff in my previous Dear Miki. As for the face, is contour all the way. There are subtle things you can do with contour, either cream, liquid, or powder, that will make your face appear slimmer. So one, I've already done my contour, but let's just kind of go over it again briefly. So I'm just going to kind of walk through what I did. The first thing I did was, you can do this, and this is not flattering, but it shows you many, many chins. I'm going to take the first one as my guide, and I'm going to go under my chin and pull it down to that point. So I'm disguising any double chins or triple chins or quadruple chins or however many chins you have. You want to disguise them. So I'm going to take it under here and pull it down and blend. I'm also going to sharpen up my jawline a little bit. You want to blend out and blend down here. You don't want it to look like a mask. Then I'm going to kind of tilt forward and see where the shadows are, and that's where I'm putting my contour in the cheeks. And that's going to make your cheeks look a little bit more drawn, a little sunken, a little slimmer. If that's not enough, you can try face tape. Face tape will go here, here, even up here. You hide it under your hair. It has threads that pull back, and it will pull your face up like this and this. So you can make it look slimmer. But that is extreme. I'm going in with Odyssey. Going to do a little purple under my eyes.
Still not a color.
But it's pretty. Alright, what's the next question, sir?
See, if guys design makeup palettes, it would be blue, more blue, green. Just saying. All right.
That's why guys don't do it, because it's boring.
Next question is, one of the boys asks, as someone who knows you in the real world, you always seem to be rocking a fashionable and flattering look, while the majority of my wardrobe seems to be jeans, shorts, and t-shirts. Where should I start if I want to up my fashion game and be more girly?
Okay, first of all, while I'm working on this, you are not one of the boys. You're not. You don't want to be one of the boys, obviously, so don't do it. If you ever want to stop being seen like one of the boys, you have to add a little femininity into your wardrobe. Let's talk about what that looks like. Okay, so first you need to analyze your body type. This is the hardest thing because you have to be really frank. Do you have broad shoulders? Do you have a big waist? But you also have to really look at the good things. We pick ourselves apart so easily. Finding the negatives, broad shoulders, big waist, etc., is going to be a lot easier than finding the positives. But just like you have things that you don't like about yourself, there are good qualities too. So for this, I'm going to put my makeup down. We are going to answer this question because you need to know. Alright. Be brutal, but not hard on yourself. Like I said, everyone has things they'd like to improve, but even if you don't think so, you have things that are wonderful about you. Figure out what they are and accentuate them. For example, do you have big boobs? Lower cut, not slutty, but just some slight cleavage. Those blouses will make you look much better. Small waist, big butt, wear a tighter skirt. Big waist, big butt, wear an on your waistline. Again, in my last Dear Miki video, I talked about this. So give it a watch. Once you figure out the most flattering cuts for you, then my recommendation is that you invest in 2 or 3, 4 quality pieces. Then you can go to Ross, Target, Walmart, even Goodwill, and find some other pieces that will supplement your wardrobe as you build it. You can find things that will flatter your figure and rely on those quality pieces and change them off. This will give you a lot to work with very little. I'm going to go ahead and do my lashes and my lipstick off camera. Then we'll come back for the last question. I'll finish up with some gloss and we'll wrap things up. Hang tight. Lashes and liner are done and my lipstick is done. Let's go ahead and get to the last question and wrap this up. I'm going to start doing my highlighter while my trusty cohort here asks the last question.
Dear Miki, my husband is very intimidated by the thought of adding spice to our love life in the form of marital aids from the adult store. How do I help him feel secure enough to take a walk on the wild side? Signed, Toys R Us.
Toys R Us. That's cute. That's really cute. That's really adorable. Okay, look, toys. If you are interested in adding toys like LOL dolls, Furbies, or sea monkeys into the equation, then I have to side with your husband on this one. In fact, I would probably even recommend psychiatric assistance. But in 2023, something as simple as a dildo or a vibrator really shouldn't be that taboo to add into the equation. Just reassure him that you're not looking to replace him and make certain that you erase that sex doll search from your browser history. Alright, so let's finish up with this Jolie Beauty Glitter Lip Gloss over my Jeffree Star Lip Gloss. This color is called So Below. We're going to finish up with this and then wrap it up with the final model. So it's a little dramatic on the lip, but the eyes are very light. So I decided to go with a little more glam on the lips. But I do want to say before I go, please, guys, we're up to 223 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 500, and we'll hold a contest for 2 P. Louise palettes from the Book of Spells collection. If you haven't seen them, go to the P. Louise website and check them out. They're gorgeous. 500 subscribers. We're almost halfway there. Please hit the notification bell to find out when I drop new content. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment, like this video. It really helps my algorithm. I look forward to talking to you next time, and as always, stay magical.
Dear Miki, sometimes when I'm going at it hot and heavy with my wife, I just want to whip it out and pee all over her. But she's not into it. How do I make her play along? Signed, R. Kelly Wannabe.
Are you kidding me with this shit? Where are you even getting these questions? No. Just no.